On the vast stage of life, we are actors in constant interaction, exchanging gestures and words that shape our journey. However, among the characters that cross our path, there are those whose actions and words are like invisible daggers, piercing our peace and undermining our serenity. These are the unmistakable signs that someone is not aligned with your inner journey, and it's time to distance yourself from their corrosive influence. The envy seeder. Have you ever stopped to consider the weight of envy and how it can cloud the true essence of our achievements? Imagine for a moment that your victories are not only yours, but also beacons of inspiration for everyone around you. However, there are those whose eyes, instead of reflecting the light of these beacons, blaze with the fire of envy. The question then arises, how can we transform this negative energy into a positive force that unites rather than divides? Epictetus, an ancient sage, offers us a transformative perspective by stating, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." This idea invites us to reflect not only on our reactions to challenges, but also on how we deal with others' negative emotions, such as envy. Can we look beyond the discomfort it causes us and see an opportunity to grow and inspire? Let's imagine for a moment that each of us is a gardener. In our hands, we have the ability to sow different kinds of seeds, those of envy or those of inspiration. If we choose to cultivate envy, our garden may become a dark place where little flourishes. On the other hand, if we choose to plant seeds of inspiration, even in the face of others' envy, our garden will not only flourish, but also encourage others to cultivate their own. But how do we do this in practice? First, it's essential to recognize that each of us has a unique path to follow. Your achievements are the result of your dedication, hard work, and often overcoming obstacles that only you know. Sharing these stories, not with the aim of boasting, but to inspire, can be a powerful antidote against envy. Moreover, it's important to cultivate empathy. Trying to understand what leads someone to feel envy can open doors to meaningful conversations about aspirations, fears, and perhaps how we can support each other on our individual journeys. Now, I want to invite you to a reflection. Have you been a gardener who sows envy or inspiration? Remember, at every moment, we have the choice of which seed to plant. How about from today, we consciously choose to sow inspiration? By doing so, we not only transform our own life experience, but also contribute to creating a more united and positive community. The whisper of slander. Let's delve into another shadow that often tries to dim the shine of achievements: slander. Ah, that ominous whisper that spreads as quickly as a fire in a dry field. When you realize that someone delights in defaming others, using their words as sharp blades, it's a clear sign that this person is wrapped in their own darkness. Seneca, another great philosopher, already warned us. Slander is the weapon of the weak, used by those who fear the truth. But what do we do with this? How do we react to envy and slander? The first thing is to understand that these attitudes say more about those who practice them than about those who receive them. It's a reflection of personal dissatisfaction, fear, and the inability to look inward and confront their own limitations and shadows. Instead of fueling these negative cycles with more negativity, how about we choose a different path? A path of compassion, understanding, and above all, self-confidence. Be the beacon that guides not only yourself, but also those who have lost their way in the darkness of their own hearts. Show by example that true strength lies in the ability to transcend these adversities, maintaining integrity and one's own light. And here's a call to action for you, dear listener. The next time you encounter envy or slander, take a deep breath and remember who you are and what you've achieved. Use these moments not as stones in your path, but as steps to reach even greater heights. Turn negativity into a driving force for your personal development. After all, isn't it incredible to think that we have the power to choose how we react to adversities? We can choose to be affected by them, or we can choose to learn and grow from them. And you, how do you choose to react? The mask of hypocrisy. Let's dive into a deep reflection on a topic that, let's admit, touches all of us in some way. Have you ever thought about the mask of hypocrisy? Yes, I'm referring to that situation where words and actions seem to construct a facade, a true disguise that hides someone's real motives. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? All of us, at some point, have faced this crossroad between being and seeming. Marcus Aurelius, one of the wisest Roman emperors and a Stoic philosopher, said, "Nothing is more disgraceful than insincerity." But why did he highlight this? What makes us reflect on the weight of these words in our daily lives? The truth is that, in an increasingly connected world, where appearances often gain more prominence than essence, this mask of hypocrisy can become an easy trap to fall into. But how do we identify this mask in ourselves or in others? And more importantly, how can we extricate ourselves from this web of inauthenticity that we often weave without realizing? First, it's crucial to develop keen self-awareness. This means stopping to reflect. Are my actions and words in harmony with my deepest values and beliefs? Am I acting authentically, or am I just trying to fit in, seeking approval, or avoiding conflict? Now, think about the people around you. Those who always seem to say what you want to hear, but whose actions don't match their words. How do you feel about that? Frustrated? Disappointed? Maybe it's time to reassess those relationships. Being close to authentic people who live according to their principles can be a source of inspiration and growth. But here's the question: how do we distance ourselves from hypocrisy without severing ties or creating unnecessary conflicts? The key might be an open and honest dialogue, expressing your feelings and expectations in a constructive way can open the door to a deeper understanding between parties. And remember, change starts with you. Being an example of authenticity can inspire others to remove their own masks. In this process of self-discovery and sincerity, it's essential to remember that we are all on a journey. To err is human, but seeking truth and authenticity is an act of courage. I invite you to reflect on this. How can we together build a more genuine and less hypocritical environment? How can your daily actions reflect more of who you truly are? Life is too short to live hidden behind masks. I encourage you to take the first step today. Be more you, more genuine, more authentic, not just for others, but for yourself. And who knows, by doing so, you might not only find incredible freedom, but also become a beacon of authenticity for those around you. The shadow of selfishness. Imagine for a moment that you're walking down a road, surrounded by the beauty of nature, but suddenly you realize you're carrying a heavy backpack. This backpack is filled with stones, each representing a moment of selfishness, a moment when you placed your interests above others. How do you feel? Heavy, tired, maybe even a bit lost. Now, think about the power of letting go of this backpack, of getting rid of these stones one by one. Seneca, a sage from antiquity, offers us a profound reflection. True freedom is found in the renunciation of selfishness. But what does this really mean in practice, in our day-to-day lives? Let's talk about the shadow of selfishness. It emerges when we unduly prioritize our own desires and needs, forgetting those around us. It's an easy path to follow, especially in a world that often values individual success above all. But in doing so, we pay a high price. We sacrifice dignity, empathy, and ultimately our own happiness. Now I ask you, have you ever felt trapped in the chains of ego? As if somehow, despite all your efforts to move forward, something was holding you back. The truth is, by focusing exclusively on our own interests, we limit our ability to grow, to connect with others, and to experience the true joy that comes from contributing to the common good. It's like trying to fly with just one wing. It simply doesn't work. But how can we start to renounce selfishness? How can we let go of these stones from the backpack? First, start by practicing empathy. Try to put yourself in others' shoes. Feel what they feel. See the world through their eyes. This doesn't mean neglecting your own needs, but rather balancing your needs with those of others. Second, cultivate gratitude. Be thankful for the people in your life, for the opportunities you have, for moments of joy and even for challenges, as they are disguised teachers. Third, engage in actions that benefit others. It can be something as simple as a smile, a kind word, or acts of generosity and service. Every action, no matter how small, has the power to lighten the shadow of selfishness. And finally, reflect on your actions and intentions regularly. Ask yourself, am I acting in a way that contributes to the greater good? Am I respecting the dignity of others? As we embark on this journey of renouncing selfishness, we discover something incredibly liberating. True freedom doesn't come from accumulating more for ourselves, but from letting go of what weighs us down. It's an ongoing process, a choice we make every day. If this video is bringing value to you, please leave a comment to help my work reach more people. Thank you. The lack of integrity. Just imagine, have you ever been in a situation where someone promised something and, in the end, didn't deliver? That left you feeling frustrated, right? The lack of integrity is one of those behaviors that, unfortunately, we encounter in various spheres of life, be it professional, personal, or even in romantic relationships. But what really happens when someone breaks a promise or fails to honor a commitment? Think about it. Honesty is not just a pretty word to be thrown around. It is, in fact, the cornerstone of any relationship we cherish and value. As Cicero, an emblematic figure of ancient Rome, put it, "Honesty is the best policy." But why does this phrase remain so current and powerful, even after so many centuries? Diving into this thought, we discover that honesty is more than an admirable quality. It's a foundation for trust. When someone does what they promise, a bond of trust is strengthened, creating a solid foundation for any type of relationship. It's as if each act of integrity adds a brick to the building of a robust and safe structure where everyone would like to live. Now, let's reflect together. How many times have you felt truly valued and respected when someone was honest with you, even if the truth wasn't what you hoped to hear? It's at that moment we realize the invaluable worth of honesty. But what to do when we encounter a lack of integrity? The answer might be simpler than it seems. First, it's crucial to recognize the importance of being the change we wish to see. If we desire a world where honesty prevails, we must start with ourselves. Practicing honesty in all our actions and interactions. This means having the courage to fulfill our commitments, even when it's hard, and the sincerity to admit when we can't. Now, a question. Don't you think such a world would be a better place for all of us? Imagine an environment where mutual trust is not the exception, but the rule. A place where each of us, regardless of age, can rely on the other, knowing that the given word will be honored. Integrity and honesty are not just pretty words, but essential values that should guide our lives. Every step we take toward honesty not only strengthens our relationships, but also transforms us into better people. So how about we embark on this journey together in search of a more authentic and meaningful life? After all, as history teaches us, honesty is and will always be the best policy. The shadow of scorn. Imagine walking under the sunlight, leaving behind the shadow of scorn. You know, when someone looks at what you do, at every drop of sweat and dedication, and simply shrugs as if none of it was worth it. It's as if suddenly all the energy and passion you've put into something were diminished to a mere whisper in the wind. But let's be honest. Since when is the value of your journey measured by the gaze of others? Think about it. How many times have you found yourself questioning your own worth based on a careless comment or unsolicited criticism? The truth is, we've all been there, at that question mark over our own merits. But let me share a secret with you. The true shine of your achievements isn't in external recognition, but in that feeling of personal satisfaction, in the pride of having done your best. Epictetus, a voice of ancient wisdom, brings us a powerful reminder. Don't worry about what others think, but about what you know to be true. How liberating is that thought? Imagine living authentically, where your actions and decisions are guided by your internal compass, not by the fleeting judgments of those who barely know the depth of your journey. Now I ask you, are you ready to recognize the immeasurable value of your own trajectory? Are you ready to free yourself from the chains of others' scorn and embrace the beauty of your own existence, with all its struggles and triumphs? Here's a call to action, not just for today, but for life. Start celebrating every step taken, every small victory. Remember that each of your efforts has value, regardless of the applause. And when someone tries to minimize your journey, smile, because you know the real treasure lies within you. The certainty of having lived according to your own terms. So tell me, are you willing to walk this path with me? A path where each of us recognizes and values not only our own achievements, but also those of others, without judgment or scorn. A path of understanding, where the personal journey of each is seen as the masterpiece it truly is. Let's together illuminate these shadows of scorn with the light of our own truth and determination. Let's turn every doubt into a step to reach our best version. Because in the end, what really matters is the peace of knowing we're living a life aligned with our deepest values and truths. So, the question hangs in the air, echoing as an invitation. Are you ready to live your truth and let your own light shine, regardless of the shadows of scorn? The thirst for control. Take a moment to think. What happens when someone tries to take the helm of your ship, steering it towards waters you have no desire to explore? It's at this crossroads that we come face to face with the thirst for control, a challenge as old as time, yet still so present in our lives. The thirst for control is that invisible yet tangible force that tries to corner us, limiting our freedom and our ability to make our own decisions. But why do we allow this to happen? Why do we let others dictate the course of our journey? Seneca, a Roman philosopher who left us a legacy of wisdom, once said, "No one can hurt you without your consent." These words echo through the centuries, reminding us of the power that resides within each of us. Yes, it's true, we may feel trapped, even suffocated, by the expectations and demands of others. But deep down, who really has control? The time has come to reclaim sovereignty over our own life. But how can we do this? How can we free ourselves from the shackles that bind us and start living with authenticity and freedom? First, it's essential to recognize and accept that you are the sole captain of your ship. Your choices, your dreams, your passions, all of this makes up the map that guides your journey. When someone tries to impose their will on you, it's an invitation for you to reaffirm your independence. It's not a battle of forces, but rather an act of self-love. Secondly, learn to establish healthy boundaries. Communicating clearly what is acceptable to you and what is not can be a challenge, but it's a crucial skill. Boundaries are not barriers to keep people away. They are bridges that help us interact with others while respecting our own integrity and theirs. And here's a practical example. Think of a situation where you felt controlled or limited by someone. How did you react? Now, imagine dealing with the same situation, but this time, gently asserting your boundaries and choices. How does this change the dynamics? How do you feel when visualizing this interaction? Now, I invite you to a moment of reflection. Are there areas in your life where you feel you've lost a bit of your control? What steps can you take today to start reclaiming that control? Remember, every little step counts. Be the change you wish to see in your life. Remember, the pursuit of freedom and autonomy is a continuous journey. There will be moments of doubt and hesitation, but there will also be moments of triumph and liberation. Each experience is an opportunity to learn more about who you are and what you value. If you're enjoying this, don't miss the opportunity. Acquire now the ebook, Stoicism in the 21st Century, Ancient Strategies for Modern Challenges, and unlock your prosperity, abundance, and enhance your relationships with this ebook. Link in the pinned comment. The darkness of negativity. You know, there are moments when it seems like we're walking under a clouded sky, where each step sinks us deeper into a quagmire of pessimism. But have you ever considered that even in this darkness, a light of hope can shine? Imagine for a moment that each of us carries within a small lantern. Sometimes it's shining brightly, illuminating not only our path, but also those around us. At other times, this light seems weak, almost extinguished, smothered by the fog of despair. But the truth is, it never goes out completely. Marcus Aurelius, a great thinker of antiquity, leaves us with timeless advice. Choose to see the world through eyes of gratitude. Powerful words, don't you think? Transforming our view of the world through gratitude is like finding fresh water in a desert. It's a reminder that, amidst chaos and disillusionment, we can still choose the focus of our thoughts. But how do we do this in practice? How can we keep this light of hope lit and still spread its brightness? Let's dive in. First, start small. Each morning when you wake up, think of something you're grateful for. It can be something simple, like the singing of birds or a perfect cup of coffee. This simple practice begins to change the lens through which you view the world. Another step is to share that light. Have you noticed how a genuine smile can change someone's day? Be the one who smiles, who offers words of encouragement, who listens with empathy. Small acts of kindness and gratitude are like sparks that can ignite the light in others. Now I ask you, are you ready to be a bearer of light? The choice to focus on the positive, to nourish yourself with gratitude, and to spread hope is a powerful act of rebellion against the darkness of negativity. And here's a challenge for you. Today, choose to do something that brightens your day and that of another person. It can be something small, but do it with intention. And then, observe how it changes you inside and the world around you. The emptiness of superficiality, the void of superficiality. In a world where the spotlight often shines on the fleeting glitter of the immediate, where instant gratification is endlessly pursued, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that happiness lies in the next achievement, the next object of desire. But have you ever wondered why, even after reaching such goals, the feeling of fulfillment seems to slip away, like sand running through your fingers? Seneca, A philosopher whose wisdom has traversed centuries offers us a transformative perspective. Happiness is not found in the pursuit of pleasure, but in the pursuit of meaning. This statement is an invitation to dive into the deeper waters of existence, exploring what truly makes us feel complete, fulfilled. But how do we navigate these often turbulent and uncharted waters? First, we must recognize that superficial satisfaction is like candy. It may offer immediate pleasure, but it is fleeting and often followed by emptiness. To find true fulfillment, we must connect with our deepest passions, our most cherished values, that which gives meaning to our journey. This means creating space for introspection, for questions we often avoid. What really matters to me? What makes my heart beat faster? How can I contribute to a better world? It is a process that requires courage, as it involves facing our own shadows, our insecurities, and often questioning the path we are on. And here's a truth that might surprise you. Deep down, we all yearn for meaningful connections, for experiences that touch our soul, that make us feel truly alive. This quest for depth connects us to each other in an authentic way, creating bonds that transcend the superficial. The illusion of perfection. We live in an era where social media often presents us with only the edited versions of people's lives, where filters and carefully chosen poses attempt to mask any sign of imperfection. But I ask you, have you noticed how true human connections arise not from moments of perfection, but from those of vulnerability, of authenticity? Epictetus, with his timeless wisdom, guides us to the heart of the matter. Accepting what we cannot change is the first step towards true freedom. This idea is an invitation to drop the chains of perfection, to recognize that each flaw, each imperfection, is a unique brushstroke on the canvas of each person's life. How then can we embrace this freedom? First, it's essential to recognize that the relentless pursuit of perfection is a race with no finish line. It exhausts us and distances us from who we truly are. Start by looking at yourself in the mirror and appreciating the person you see with all their peculiarities and singularities. Practice self-acceptance. Remember that every mistake is an opportunity for learning, every weakness a space for growth. Instead of relentlessly criticizing yourself, celebrate the efforts, the attempts, the progress. Furthermore, share your real stories, your challenges and triumphs. You'll find that in doing so, you not only lighten the load you carry, but also give others the courage to do the same. And here, allow me to challenge you. Today, choose one of your imperfections and view it in a new light. Ask yourself, what has this trait taught me? Or how has it contributed to my journey? Share this reflection with someone if you feel comfortable. You'll see that by opening this door, you not only strengthen your own acceptance, but also encourage others to walk the path of authenticity. The trap of resentment. Have you ever found yourself dwelling on past grievances, allowing those bitter feelings to cloud your present and even cast shadows over your future? If so, you're not alone. It's a common human trap, but there's a way out that can not only relieve that burden, but also radically transform your life for the better. That way out is forgiveness. Imagine for a moment the freedom of releasing those chains of resentment. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest philosophers of antiquity, taught us a timeless lesson. Forgiveness is the noblest form of virtue. But why is it so powerful? And how can we truly forgive? Forgiving does not mean forgetting what happened or excusing injustices. It is, above all, an act of personal liberation. When we forgive, we are choosing not to let another person's actions or words define our feelings or our future. We are detaching ourselves from a weight that often only we know how heavy it is. But how do you take that step? Begin by understanding that forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself more than to the other person. It's deciding that you deserve peace, regardless of the circumstances. It can start with something small, like forgiving a friend for a careless remark and noticing how it changes your energy and disposition. Here's a practical example. Think of someone who has caused you pain in some way. Now imagine yourself saying to that person, even if only in thought, that you forgive them. Feel the weight being lifted from your shoulders. This sensation is the freedom that forgiveness brings. Now I ask you, what do you gain by holding on to resentment? And what can you gain by releasing this burden through forgiveness? It's an invitation to reflection, to change. Let me share a personal story. There was a time in my life when resentment consumed me. It was as if I were chained to the past, unable to move freely. I decided then that it was time to free myself, to practice forgiveness. It wasn't easy, but as I forgave, it felt as if a weight was lifted from me. This allowed me to make room for new experiences, healthier relationships, and above all, a profound sense of inner peace. Join us on this transformative journey where each shadow we face teaches us to find and share our light. Through stories of overcoming, inspiration, and authenticity, we seek not only inner peace and true freedom, but also invite you to be part of this change. If you've been touched by these reflections and wish to continue exploring paths that illuminate, don't stop here. Subscribe now to our channel. Leave a like to support the journey and share your own light in the comments. Together, we can make this community a beacon for many others. Take this step with us. Choose to be part of something greater. Subscribe, comment, and like, because your voice matters, and together we shine brighter.